Which leads me to Clay Matthews' tackle, and we were discussing it yesterday. You were kind enough to tweet, and you had some thoughts about this. But just that play alone, if I look at the play, given today's rules, because if we're using last year's, then it's probably different. But today's rules, should Clay Matthews have been flagged for that hit on Kirk Cousins?
I don't think so, because in my opinion, he didn't pick him up and drive him down. He didn't put his whole body weight. He didn't drive him into the turf. He picked him up, and they slid, and it was more of a parallel going to the ground. So I didn't think it fell under any of the categories. But as I said, and I told you yesterday, it's like basketball referees and baseball umpires. You have to know who's calling the game and what type of game they're calling. Tony Corrente had called that hit a personal foul on the Vikings earlier. So you've got to be smart enough to say, hey, they're calling them tight. Today, I've got to understand that. If you have different referees, and we used to have scouting reports. Our defensive line coach would come in and say, hey, here is, the referee that we've got today, Jerry Austin. He's called 7 roughing the passer penalties in the last 8 games. He's called two-step violation. He's called driving the quarterback, and this is what he looks for, blow to the head. So you're not going to be able to do that. Hey, this referee's only called 1 roughing the passer all year. You got a little more freedom. But right now with these new rules, the players don't know that yet. They'll get an idea of what each referee calls, and they'll adjust, and I think you'll see less penalties as we go forward.
But that's what I don't understand, Tony. If a strike is a strike in baseball, and if pass interference or holding or roughing the passer, I mean, it feels like those have definitions. A strike zone there is a zone there, but we have umpires and referees and officials who have their own interpretation to that. Why do we allow open to interpretation?
Well, I think it's the way the rule is drawn up. When you say the rule says you can't forcibly drive them into the turf. Well, to me, my definition of what's forcible and what's really driving a guy into the turf might be different than it is for you, and that's where it comes up.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.